morning, Soraya. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm doing well. So,
Oh.
it was only a few hours ago that we just saw each other.
That is the truth.
Yeah, so we went to see The Zombies and Brian
Brian
Wilson,
Wilson.
yeah,
Yeah.
at the Greek Theater, which was an
Woof.
amazing show, right?
It was a good show.
But today's episode is not a concert review about The Zombies and Brian Wilson.
No, it's not.
So we're going to be talking to our old friend Greg Alderette, and specifically about his new band, Bridey Murphy.
Yep, but also he's got some fun stories.
Yes.
For us.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get started.
I think so.
Paisley stage and raspberry run. Paisley stage and raspberry run. Paisley stage and raspberry run. Paisley stage and raspberry run.
So we got a different intro today for a one-off intro.
I think we need to explain what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a little ditty, as they say, that Greg wrote for us.
Yes.
And Greg is the main singer-songwriter for the band Bridey Murphy out of Austin. But rather than us explain who he is, let's give him a call and talk to him.
Awesome.
All right, we'll call Greg now.
Hello.
Hello.
T-shirts. I gotta go change.
You didn't get the memo, Greg.
I apparently not. Yeah.
To wear your own band's T-shirt. Well, Jeff and I will do it for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Love it.
For those who can't see us, we are wearing Greg's band, Bridey Murphy, their T-shirts. So we had to get in the mood for the episode.
Absolutely.
So you probably don't know this, Greg, but we just played your intro, your Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme intro for the
thanks.
show. So that's perfect. That's perfect.
That was a cup of coffee this morning. I was thinking about you guys. And I was like, you know what? There's a little tune in my head. I got to get this out and see if you like it.
We love it. We absolutely love it. So how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Good. Thanks. Heard you guys went to a fun concert last night. That's pretty awesome.
We sure did.
Yeah, and we got home very late.
Or
it's okay.
Or early, depending on which way you...
We either got the earliest start to the day or the latest start to the day before, but who knows? Anywho.
Yeah. All right. Well, Greg, we wanted our audience to know how we know each other. So, and we know each other through the bands that we mutually love, right? So the 3 o'clock. So, Greg, I think you and we met in a parking lot on the way to a show, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it was at the observatory. It was it was in the small venue at the observatory. And we were both parking next to each other. And you were with your friend, and I forget his name. He's a drummer. Is it like
Dirk? Yeah, Dirk.
Sure. Okay, so we were walking together, and I was like, it's such a long walk from that parking lot, by the way. So I was like, hey, you guys here for the 3 o'clock? You know, kind of like making friends. And of course, Soraya, Jeff, like, yeah, awesome. Like, hey, we're going to go see him. Like, we were like instant friends all the way to the show and stuff. And in my opinion, that was their best show I've ever seen them play, even back in their heyday.
Wow.
Wow. They played everything. Do you remember that? They were doing like Spun Gold and like just crazy requests. They were just, Lewis was rocking hard, and that place was just packed to the gills with just like true fans, and it was a great show.
They were pumped too, and I remember they opened the set with "Around the World," which was a non-album track.
Yeah, you're right. He's got such a good memory. Oh my God.
You know what's funny, Greg, because when Jeff and I were talking about sitting down talk with you and talk about how we know each other, I really had to go back. And at that observatory show, and we're talking about the observatory show in 2013 when the 3 o'clock reunited and started doing some warm-up shows before appearing at Coachella that year. We were all in the same area of the observatory, but didn't know each other.
Oh,
and so when I see videos or when I look at my own photos, I say, oh, wait, there's Greg, there's Jeff, there's Joy. And so people that have either appeared on the podcast or people that, we know and have become part of our circle of friends, of music-loving, concert-going friends. Right. It's just really interesting. It's like there was this gravitational pull that brought us to the 3 o'clock show. Right. And then over time, and, with those warm-up shows came some appearances and record signings. And Greg, I met you actually at the Fonda for the
Wasn't it
show. That was the first face-to-face, but we were Facebook friends because once these reunion shows, these warm-up shows started happening in Coachella and record signings, there was this flurry of activity online, and so people were sharing videos and photos.
Right. And I felt like I already knew everybody. I'm like, okay, I just know everybody now.
Yeah. Right. And then Fonda was just...
It was the Fonda. No kidding.
That was it. And
I thought it was at Freak Beat. Because I know I met...
You know what? It could have been because I was at Freak Beat. You were at Freak Beat.
We spoke at Freak Beat because I remember I took the picture of you and the band together. And we were swapping cameras to take pictures. And Joy was there also. No?
Okay. Because I have a photo of me and Danny, Lewis, and Michael.
Yep.
From fingerprints that somebody else took.
Yeah.
But no, I'll take it. I was all over the place that
it's fingerprints. I'm sorry, I'm getting the names mixed up.
No. It's all good. Oh. Yeah, fingerprints, and I was anything they put up, I was there, and most of us, it was like the usual cast of characters.
Right.
Kept seeing each other in the same place, but I think the point being is we're just really good fans. We travel.
And before I met y'all, I swear I thought I was the only super fan in existence. I was just like, I grew up since maybe I was like 11 or 12. That was the very first band that I fell in love with as a music, type of a band, or like I don't even want to say as a kid. Like that was like the first band that I claimed as like mine. Like, oh my God, I love these guys. I grew up with mom's music, listening to the Beatles and Bowie and stuff like that. But like when I got introduced to the 3 o'clock, I didn't think anybody else felt the way I did. It was just like, this is my band. And then so to meet all you guys, I was just like, other people get it. Oh my God, this is cool.
Okay, because you do have a piece. You are a piece of the 3 o'clock history. And I do, we want to talk about it. So talk to us about how, and Greg's mom, Miss Gloria, she's just an amazing, amazing person and really sweet. And please tell her that we love her and miss her. But how did your mom connect you? Because you were a young kid when you got to know about the band.
Right.
How old were you?
I think I want to say I was 11 or 12 years old. I was probably like just going on 12, if I remember right. It was during the summer, and she used to go to a gal's house to get her hair cut. Her name was Julie, and she used to have the coolest like record collection ever. So, me being a bored kid waiting for my mom to get her hair cut would just kind of like rifle through, and she would pick out a few things for me. Here, I think you might like this. Here, you might like this. Well, she pulled out the 3 o'clock Baroque hoedown, and man, as soon as I heard that, I didn't even know that kind of music existed. And I'm like, oh, I love this. I ran out immediately, got the album, and then shortly after that, my cousin took me to the Oingo Boingo concert, and it was at the Palace. And on the marquee, they had the 3 o'clock poster, that they were coming up to be playing soon. And I made my mom take me to that one, and it was on a school night, and like I didn't care. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to see the 3 o'clock. She's like, all right, let's go. But it was a lot of fun. So Mom was a huge part of it because obviously I was too young to drive myself or get into a club or anything really. So yeah, Mom was always there taking me to the concerts, and it's funny that I don't want to skip ahead, but once I started kind of palling around with the band, I would always kind of use my mom, and she would use my age to like sneak me backstage, and we would always say I was Michael Curcio's like brother or something. It worked every single time because like
nice
bouncers, they were just used to like, you know, girls wanting to go back there. Not a little kid and a mom. They were just like, oh, they must be telling me the truth. I mean, it's a little kid. So
right.
I got back every time, and the look on the band's face every single time. Like I forget which one was like, how did you get back here again? Like, at the same time, they were just both like, or they were all like, oh, Greg's here again. So, yeah, they got a kick out of like having such a young fan.
That's
and
hilarious.
Then for the people listening, you have to picture. So Greg has dark hair like Michael, you know, and so yeah, you could kind of see, yeah, you know, he's probably a family member. But you have to imagine a 12-year-old mod showing up at these shows and getting backstage. That's the part that absolutely kills me. It's like, because you dress the part.
Oh, I had my mom, she had a seamstress friend. She would make Paisley shirts for me because I couldn't find them in my size. So, yeah, spoiled, right? So I had
man.
I
love Miss Gloria now is a whole run higher on the ladder. That is just a cool mom.
Yeah, and then I would find at the thrift store like little sport coats and like houndstooth jackets or whatever, trench coats. I was like, that would complete the rest of my look, you know. So, yep, nice. I was like, I was dubbed the littlest Paisley by Vicky in the Bengals.
I love that.
That's a badge of honor.
Yeah,
it really was.
And then, how do you establish a friendship with Luis Gutierrez?
But that started right after the actual first concert that I went to. It started that night. There was a bit of a mosh pit that night, and I was right up in the front. And I was getting pushed into the stage a little bit. At the time, I didn't think I was in any real danger, you know, getting crushed or anything like that. But he saw me like getting pushed around, and so he reached down, and I don't remember what song it was, but he reached down and stopped playing guitar and yanked me up on stage. And it was my version of, what was that Bruce Springsteen song where they pulled up the model? I forget her name.
That was Dancing in the Dark. No, Dancing in the Dark. The one with the Courtney Cox in the video.
I was Courtney Cox for a few minutes up on stage because I started dancing. Like I thought he was pulling me up just to have a good time, so I was like, I was doing the boogaloo, and then they played Jeff Eider, and the bouncers came to take me off stage. And Lewis and Michael were like, no, bring him back. And so they brought me back up on stage, or they never really quite took me 100% off the stage. I was like walking back, you know, they were kind of escorting me back off after the end of whatever song they were playing. And then they played Jeff Eider. And I just sat out there like between Curcio and Gutierrez and danced the whole like song and everything. And they were just like getting a kick out of it the whole time. And
wow,
it was pretty fun. And then after that, I walked off stage. And then, of course, when I went back down into the pit, like everybody was like, "Oh my God, you're so lucky!" Because, you know, I was the kid up there dancing.
That was so cool. That's so cool.
It was a lot of fun. That was a magical night, really. And then I ended up writing a fan letter to the paint box. If you remember, they had a paint box,
right?
Yes, or they called it the paint box. And Lewis wrote back. He's like, yeah, because, you know, my letter was like, "Oh my God, I love you guys so much. And I was at your concert and I got pulled up on stage. It was like, you know, such a great night." Whatever I wrote, I don't know. I was 12. And Lewis wrote back, which I thought was really cool. He added a couple little stickers and the buttons. And he's like, "Yeah, of course I remember you. You know, I don't know how you got there. Like, did your older sister take you or a cousin or whatever?" And wrote this really, really cool letter. But towards the end of the letter, he starts telling me that they're making their video for Jet Fighter. And then he gave me their manager's telephone number, which was John Silva. So if you know who John Silva is, he's huge to this day. Like, but that was still his like baby, the 3 o'clock. That was before he had Nirvana or anybody huge. And so I called John Silva, and he arranged for me to be in their video. So in the letter he was telling me they were looking for a kid around my age to put in the video. So you can imagine, like, I was freaking out. Like,
wow.
I get a letter back from the band, and they're asking me to be in their video. I'm like, heck yeah. So, of course, I'm screaming. I show my mom, like, "I want to be in their video." And she's like, "What?" So, yeah. So that day was pretty cool. I remember we drove down. It was a little cafe on Pico Boulevard. And and we shot the video there. None of the band was there. It was just a scene where this little boy jumps out of a Jeep, and then he turns into like an 18-year-old, like while he's walking along the wall. There's like an "I Want You" poster that's kind of like hanging sideways on there. It's funny that the little boy, the first one that jumps out of the Jeep, that's Lewis's nephew.
Oh.
And so I met Lewis's brother and the little boy and stuff. And I was the third one in, I think, that was walking on the wall. I'm in for like a split second, really. But I remember it was funny because none of the kids looked alike. So they had a can of paint that was blonde or like a sandy brown color. And they were painting all of our hair, especially me, because I was the only one with like black hair. And they were spraying my hair down with this blonde color.
Wow.
So I would look like the other kids. You know, it was only for a second and a half, maybe. But as we all walked by, it's funny. If you really pause it, like, we're just a hodgepodge of kids. It was funny, though.
That's hilarious. Hey, but you ended up in a video.
I did. I was in the Jeff Potter video. And Susanna Hoffs is in that video, too. She's in the... I forget where. I think she's sitting down in the cafe, like in a booth or something like that. But I remember she came up and started talking to me while they were in the middle of, you know, taking breaks and stuff like that. And she's like, "Oh my God, Lewis talks about you all the time. He's got a picture of you guys together up on his wall, and he just thinks you're really, really cool." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, that's awesome." I had no idea who Susanna Hoffs was at the time. They weren't even that popular. 3 O'Clock was bigger than them at the time, and it was before, of course, you know, their superstardom. And so she invited me to their show, which was like a week later. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. And then Lewis contacted me, and he's like, "Hey, we're going to be there to watch the Bengals. That'd be cool." So I met up with them, and Lewis and I we went up to the balcony because they played at the Palace also, the Bengals. And we watched the Bengals from the balcony, and just Lewis and I. So, like, super fan, hanging out with Lewis, watching the Bengals. And then we got backstage, of course. And it was pretty ridiculous when I think about it now. Like... how much I was like a part of the clique, just for fun. But, you know, I listened to Lewis's interview. I loved it, by the way. You guys did such a freaking amazing job, but he was a great guest too. But his sincerity and how he, like, when he asked his friend to play guitar with him up on stage, and like, that's how Lewis was even back then, because that's what he did with me. He wanted to include me into it. And he even at one point was like, "Craig, you're so into music. Why don't you get a guitar? Like, you'd be so ahead of like everybody your age if you start playing." And so, like, he was very influential like that. Like, I don't think I would be doing any of this today. I just would have been a music listener. I would have never tried to create myself. But like, yeah, he told me to go buy a guitar and get into it and stuff like that. So yeah, that was all Lewis's kind of pushing, which was pretty cool.
Wow. So you ended up playing guitar, and I'm guessing Lewis was a big influence on you, right?
Oh, huge. Yeah. Except I couldn't play like he did. I was listening to 16 Tambourines, and Jesus, the most accomplished guitar player now, I can't figure out stupid Einstein still.
Yeah.
Right. It's so hard. But I used to rock out to Sorry, and the stuff off Roco Down, I think, was a little bit more raw kind of, and that was me. So I would jam along with that kind of stuff when I first tried to learn.
Nice. Well, you ended up playing guitar and then started playing in a few bands. In fact, speaking of 16 Tambourines, one of your bands actually did a cover version of a song off of 16 Tambourines, "When Lightning Starts," which we stole off your SoundCloud page. So we wanted to play that. Can you tell us a little bit about that band? I mean, it's a long time ago, and we mainly want to get into your new stuff. Your Bridey Murphy stuff. But before we play this, tell us a little bit about this cover.
Well, that band was right out of high school. We found the singer a little bit later, but that was my high school garage band. And then we found the singer, and we just started kind of clicking and just really writing a lot of music right away. And we kind of had a sound like Mary's Danish, which was kind of cool because that band hadn't quite existed yet. So like when Mary's Danish came out, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are like a 10 times better version of what I've been trying to do with this band, of course, because Mary's Danish was great. But so we were kind of like, the Chili Peppers were big and stuff like that. So it was a little bit of a funk type of influenced band. And but of course, my heart was always Paisley Underground and 60s music and stuff. So I wanted to do a song that was really uncharacteristic of what that band was doing, but make it that sound, still kind of thing.
Right.
So that's what we did. And then I brought it to the band, and it's funny because the bass player that I had, his name was Tony, or Anthony, he goes by, he was just a heavy metal guy.
Wow.
Long hair and stuff. And he picked up that bass line so perfect. And when he played it, he's the one at the end doing the like that.
Yes.
And I was just dying when we did it in rehearsal. I still remember when we were practicing that song, and that was probably some of my better guitar playing is when I was actually practicing a lot. And I think I was 19 years old at the time. So
nice.
But it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. And Laura, she was the singer. She has an amazing voice, very Chrissy Hines, Susie and the Banshees kind of sound. And to, just sing a Corcio song like that was just, it just was totally different. So I liked it. I liked the version of it.
Very cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and play it. What was the name of that band?
Simon Says.
All right. So this is Simon Says cover version of When Lightning Starts, originally from the 3 o'clock from 16 Tambourines. Let's give it a spin. It's fun. Yeah, I enjoyed hearing that.
My gosh, and then I'm just thinking, okay, so Lewis told this, young kid, hey, pick up a guitar. And then I'm listening to the guitar. Wait, you were only 19 at that point. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Simon Says, that's this early band right out of high school.
Right.
Okay, and now you're in Austin.
Yes.
Okay, so you were in California, now you're in Austin. What made you say, Austin's my next move? And then how does Bridey Murphy, your new band, get formed?
I love California, first of all. It's always going to be, my home, my home. But there was just so much going on. I mean, I was on the verge of leaving my job that I've been with at 16 years. The cost of living was just ridiculous. Long-term relationship ending. Like, there was so many things that were pushing me away from California. I mean, most of my family, my mom's in Florida, my brother lives in Australia. So I didn't really have too much family kind of back in California. And I was already kind of looking, with the prices of the houses in California, I was already looking outside of, a little bit earlier before I decided to make the move, and just saw places like here. I was looking in Portland and just a few other places. I knew I wanted to stay close to the music. Just thinking, oh my God, the cost of living I haven't even seen those prices since the 80s. So I flew out to Austin to take a look. And I went to go see Angel Olsen, actually, when I flew out. And she was amazing. I went to the Mohawk to go see her. And just the whole downtown scene. It reminded me of being back in the 80s in LA when it was actually, and I'm not trying to sound jaded or anything, but, when LA was cool. But I remember going there, and I still enjoyed the hair bands. I went to go see them play, on the Strip and everything like that. But it had that vibe where all the bands knew each other and there was something happening, and just a really cool music scene, Like, you walk from that bar to the one 3 doors down and there's another great band playing, and then you go up just every other door there's bands playing. And that's just not in that one concentrated area. That's throughout all of Austin. Like, any night of the week you feel like going out. And you know this, Jeff, because Jeff came out and visited me once, and we went to go see Courtney Barnett over at Stubbs. I mean, every single night, if you want to go out and listen to music, you're going to find it. So I just immediately fell in love with the city, and I'm like, I'm not going to look anywhere else. This is the happening city. So I moved out here and got my condo out here and just fell in love with the place immediately. Took about a month or two off of work and just explored my city, went to concerts, and just started meeting people. And the musicians out here are really cool. There's a lot of just like meetups and things that happen. So I started meeting the musicians that are playing with me now. It started off as a jam session. So a lot of musicians would come to this one guy's house in his garage, and we would just all play. And if you were a songwriter, people would try to jump in, or they would just jump in and like, hey, I've got a little riff to play on whatever, my bass or whatever. So there was like a thing kind of happening that didn't really take off there, but I kind of pulled the players that I kind of enjoyed playing with and said, hey, I really want to start a band on my own, not just a jam session kind of, situation. So I pulled Stephanie and Christina, Christina came a little bit later, into this, forming Bridey Murphy. And I always like a band. I didn't really want to do like, this is mine. I wanted to kind of make it feel like a band. So they were both they're both really talented. Christina plays ukulele and Stephanie plays clarinet. And I just kind of started making up instruments here at the house, like with a suitcase drum and stuff like that. And we all started kind of getting together and playing my songs. And it just really like immediately took its own sound, and I've been in several bands, and that's really hard to find when you just develop a sound right away. Like if you were to walk into a club, you would instantly know, oh, that's Bridey Murphy playing up on stage, just because it has such a distinct kind of sound. And I'm not trying to say like, I'm a good songwriter or whatever. It's just, we just had this vibe going and just a good energy, and all the instruments are pretty much acoustic, and we use little vintage organs, and it's just an interesting little sound that just really took hold, and it's very mellow. We kind of keep that same vibe from the living room to going on stage. And I just loved it. It wasn't anything that I ever used to do, because I kind of like went from Simon Says to more like punk rock type of bands, and now like that I'm a little older, I'm writing more mature music, I guess. I don't know, but it just turned into something that I didn't know it was going to turn into, and I love it. It's just really, really a lot of fun. I'm still writing new songs like every day, but I'll introduce them to them, here and there, like, hey, what do you think of this one? And then we'll just take it, and somebody will grab some type of instrument, and before you know it, it kind of writes itself. So that was it took off very organically, which I loved. So
nice.
We
went into the studio. Yeah.
Where's the name come from?
Oh, Bridey Murphy. Oh, so my next door neighbor Karen, she's
awesome, by the way.
She is awesome.
I love her. That's her artwork
behind me. She has a cousin named Virginia Ty, and well, let me go back a little bit. So in her house, she has a bunch of old photographs, like on the walls and stuff. And there was a picture of three ladies, like from the 1950s. And of course, I love like the whole outfits they were wearing. So I asked her, who are these ladies? And they were her sisters and her cousin, Virginia Ty. And she goes, oh, but everybody knows Virginia as Bridey Murphy. So I'm like, oh, everybody but me, like who's Bridey Murphy? So she explains to me that back in the 50s, her cousin had undergone hypnotherapy. And while she was hypnotized, she became Bridey Murphy. So the hypnotherapist thought that was just amazing, and they ended up writing a book because there was a lot of people that believed that she was reincarnated as this woman, Bridey Murphy, and it's just a cool story. And this is her cousin, right? My neighbor's cousin, and so I'm just like, oh, that is so cool. Well, the more research I did on Bridey Murphy, the more I just started liking the story. And she was diagnosed with what they call cryptomnesia. And I had to look that up, of course. But that's like the idea that you're doing something original, but you're actually plagiarizing. So Bridey Murphy, Virginia, she, when people started kind of diving into her past, she actually had a neighbor named Bridey from Ireland. So as a kid, she probably got these stories, and then when she was hypnotized, she became Bridey Murphy. That was like her thing. So that's kind of my thing about music. I always feel like everybody, can write music. It's just out, and it's already been done. If the Beatles haven't done it, it's floating around in the universe to be brought into the world. Like the songs are there, bad songs, good songs. It doesn't matter. They're all there. So you're really not, in my opinion, creating something terribly new. You're just kind of bringing out stuff that's already there, kind of like along the lines of, the cryptomnesia, Bridey Murphy kind of story. So yeah, it kind of made sense to just go with the Bridey Murphy name. Wow. Sorry, long explanation.
No, that's perfect. How long before we delve into the songs and the release, how long has the band been together? The three of you?
A little over a year now. Like seriously, we probably jammed a little bit off and on. And then we actually started saying, hey, this is a band probably about a year ago now. Almost a year, yeah.
And you guys actually you've done a few shows, I know. You played a South by Southwest event, or in that time area near where all that was happening, right?
Yeah, during South by, we played at a club called the Brixton, and that was a lot of fun. We were just rehearsing like crazy, and we went, and it was an outdoor venue. And I don't know if you know who the OCs are.
Oh, yes.
They're an LA band, and so you know their music. They're very garage and loud. They were playing across the street from us, and they hadn't gone on yet, but the opening band for them were just as wild and loud. So you couldn't even hear us when we were trying to do a sound check. Here we are with acoustic instruments and stuff, and these guys are rocking out across the street. And we're like, oh God, this is going to be horrible. So as soon as they were done, the club was like, go, play now. So we went on, we played, and it was great because people could actually hear us, and then people were like funneling in from the bar, from the streets, and really, I like to think they enjoyed the show that we did. It was different, it wasn't like the typical rock and rollers that were out there and stuff. So we had a good little crowd, got some good response that night, and right after we were done, the OCs go on.
Wow.
So I felt really bad for the band that was after us because they had to basically play with a wall of the OCs coming at them. So
wow.
We lucked out.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we've done some house shows and stuff too. And I really wanted to get into the recording studio before I started getting any more shows. So that's kind of where I'm at now, or where we're at.
So speaking of that, you went into the studio and you recorded 6 songs, and you have the new release, Paper Boat, right? So,
yes.
So tell us about going into the studio and how that experience was recording these songs.
Well, the girls had never been into a recording studio, so I thought that was really, really cool. I took some classes in college, and I've been in with Simon Says to, the big old 24-track recording kind of thing. So not that I've been well seasoned, but I've been around it. And I know, how they're going to mic you up, and I know like you're going to be in a sound booth and you're not going to hear anybody else, and it gets a little confusing, but it's still exciting. And so I discovered Fast Horse Studios. They actually were a customer of mine because I kind of somewhat of an antique dealer here myself in furniture business, and he had bought something like a mid-century piece from me to put in the studio, and so we got to talking. So we went and recorded there, and it was just a blast. I mean, we were so rehearsed for it. I think we did all the songs, if not in one take, no more than 2 or 3 takes, and the rest was just him and Danny mixing and mastering, and it just came together really, really fast. It was a good time in the studio, and we had a lot of fun. Towards the end there, I had written the song Finn, which is at the very end. It's kind of a sleeper lullaby song, which really wasn't intended to be on that EP. But I fell in love with it right away, and we worked on it maybe 2 or 3 times before we went into the studio. So I told the guys in the studio, I said, hey, look, I really want to put this on the album, but I know we ran out of money and time. So can we just all go into the studio? And they said, yeah, cool. So they put the partitions in front of us, and we're just kind of looking at each other like real nervous, like, can we do this? I don't know. Let's try. If it falls apart, oh well. So we played it, and it came out really, really good. And it's at the end of the album, and it really wasn't meant to be a song. But it's funny when I spy on myself on YouTube. It's probably it is the second most hit song that people keep listening to.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh man, maybe I missed my calling. I should write lullabies. But yeah, all the songs were a lot of fun to do. They were all very different and really meaningful to me when I wrote them. So it was fun to get in the studio and do that, and something I've always wanted to do.
So before we walk through these 6 songs, Greg, I want to ask you about, so let's talk about song number 1, Baby I Don't Know. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the song or the motivation for writing this song?
Sure. So, I had just freshly moved here to Austin, and, you meet new people, and you're trying to get out of the house, and you're going through just a lot of I was going through a lot of emotional things at the time, but everything was happening so fast. I mean, I didn't have time to sit around and just like try to figure things out, with myself. Things were just happening. Like the band started right away. I started making a lot of friends right away. I got a job right away. I started doing my own business like right away. So I didn't really have time to kind of like chill too long. I mean, I did for a couple of months, but that was very short lived. But there was always still that feeling, that agoraphobia, if you will. And so I was really kind of trying to relate to the feelings that I was having. Like I wanted to get out, but sometimes there was things pulling me back in, and I just couldn't get out there, or, you get ready and then you just kind of like, nah, I'm going to go back in bed and watch Netflix with my dog. That kind of thing. So, but it's a healing song also. It's there's hope. There's a sense of hope to it that, what, I am getting out there. I am doing stuff, and I'm moving forward, kind of feel to it. So, yeah. So
hey,
that's what that song's pretty much about.
I want to hear the song again. Would you mind introducing it before we play it right here?
Oh, sure. This is Baby I Don't Know.
don't wanna go out tonight. I'm dressed up and where to go. And I'll fight, but I can't win. Not tonight, well, maybe tomorrow. And I'll try, but I can't move at all. I put one foot on the ground, then I fall. Baby, I don't know it all. Maybe I don't know it all. Baby, I don't know it all. And I'm waiting for someone to call to drag me out into the night. And I'll crawl to my front door, where you'll be waiting there, waiting for me. And I'll try, but I can't move at all. I put one foot on the ground, then I fall. Baby, I don't know it all. Maybe I don't know it all. But baby, I don't know it all.
I love it.
Was that a one take?
I'm sorry?
Was that a one take?
That one was one take, yes.
Dang, that just sounded so smooth and beautiful.
Thank you.
It was.
I love the bells on that too. They make the song, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if that. Well, I was gonna try to crack a joke and say that song is super vibey.
It is totally vibey, yes.
But so those are bells.
It's like a little marching band kit, you know, the little xylophones.
Okay.
There's so many names for them. I just call them bells.
Yeah, I've heard different names too, so I was wondering. So is that Stephanie playing that?
Stephanie's playing the bells on that one, yeah.
Nice. So the second song is That Guy.
Yes.
What's the story behind this one? I'm interested.
Well, for me at least, it's pretty straightforward. It's a snapshot of a relationship, or if you will, pretty much all relationships start off super happy and there's that sense of excitement. And then, of course, you break up and it's just sad. So it's just a snapshot of that.
Okay.
So how was it recorded?
Not much to it, sorry.
No, that's fine. How about the recording of it? How was it for you emotionally recording it, being that it's so personal?
That guy actually was really easy for me to sing. I think when I do get emotional over singing, or when I'm singing, it's more over the melody and not the lyrics. So I wrote the lyrics, and the lyrics, you know, are a bit emotional, or, you know, explaining things, but I didn't really connect to them as far as like I would with a melody. So I don't know if that makes sense. Like sometimes I could be singing about nothing, but if the melody is how my heart felt when I wrote that song, then it really gets to me. I mean, there may be a line or two that really will kind of like I remember why I wrote that kind of thing. But with this song, it was for me more of just like the kind of a happy, upbeat type of song to write. And of course, it still found its way of being a somewhat sad song.
Yeah. So I had a kind of a geeky question because I love the sound of the guitar. What kind of guitar are you playing?
Oh, that's a Taylor, and I forget the model number, but it's like the first thing I bought when I moved out here.
Nice.
That was like a treat to myself. I'm like, I'm going to go buy that Taylor right now.
My favorite acoustic guitars.
Oh, it's just warm sounding and just, there's nothing better, really.
Well, let's play that guy.
Okay, cool.
Come sit with me. I can tell that you want to. Won't you agree that there's something going on? You're not like all the girls I've met before. You're not like all the guys you close the door on. I counted 3. Still be there in front of me. I'll go to work like some jerk, waiting to get home. And not like all the girls I've met before. Not like all the guys you close the door on. I never wanted to be that guy. Did you want me to be that guy? Did I get old? Was there something out there better? I once was told that true love will never die. Not like all the girls I've met before. Not like all the guys you close the door on. Did you want me to be that guy? I never wanted to be that guy. Did you want me to be that guy? I really wanted to be that guy. Oh, that guy.
Cool.
Come on, Soraya. How awesome is that?
I'm sorry. I'm just really liking. I'm everything. The vibe, the word, melody, everything. And it's just such a wholesome sound from the 3 of you.
Well, thank you.
Just really enjoyable. I mean, I've already listened to it a few times before, and then when you sit and listen, and I'm oh, okay, well, here's the songwriter staring at me in the face. It's a whole different thing.
Yes.
It's different
when you're not rushing and you're on the go or something. You're actually just sitting down and listening to music.
Exactly.
I find that's the best time to really soak it in as to what was going on. I wait for the harmonies on that song. I love that part the most. I mean, the girls just sound incredible.
Yeah, I was gonna highlight that too. I mean, the song is amazing and your voice is amazing. I love the guitar, but Stephanie and Christina sound great singing behind you. It's a great trio that you guys got going on. So.
Yeah, and you should know by now that Jeff and I are absolute suckers for sweet harmonies, and you guys, it's just beautiful music all around.
Thank you. That was one of those songs where we kind of threw everything at it that I found at Goodwill. So there's good there, which, I mean, I don't even know if Christina really knows how to play. I just gave it to her. I'm like, hey, this song has harmonica in it. And she came up with that.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's
pretty funny.
Pretty good.
we also have like it's called a tongue box, but it's just like a little African box that has like roots cut into it. You could hear it. It's in the chorus, and it's just toot 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 toot. Like you could hear it once if you kind of listen for it, but that's in there too. So that's.
Was that another Goodwill find?
That was a Goodwill too for $10. Best $10 ever spent.
I've been to that Goodwill.
I just posted a picture of a receiver he found for $8, and it has a fantastic sound. I'm like, wow. And I like that you're just finding things that fit in with the musical vision of the band right now. And I'm just like, okay, I want to move on to track 3. Talk to us and our listeners about Garden.
Okay, so Garden was that was another song that I wrote right when I first got here. And there's actually a community garden right down the street from me. So as I was kind of like adventuring in my own backyard, I stumbled across the community garden. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. Like, I don't know anything about gardening. And so, I got a plot and I started learning how to garden. And my neighbor went with me to kind of help me out. Karen, she would go with me. And it was before I really started working or doing anything. And, I was coming from a pretty long relationship that had ended and kind of rebuilding out here. And garden was kind of just I want to say it was a metaphor for what I was going through, but it was physically I was working a garden at the same time when I started writing that song too. And there was so many parallels. I'm like, you know what? My garden looks like shit right now. I don't know if I can say that. My garden looks terrible right now. Yeah. But I'm going to tend to this garden, and it's going to grow, and it's going to produce, wonderful things. And that's kind of like, as corny as that sounds, it kind of is what I was doing for myself, outside of gardening also. And just kind of cultivating and working, myself, to be the person that, that I am today, or to move on, I guess I should say. So yeah, that's kind of what garden's about.
So I think Paper Boat is kind of your sea change. If you know Beck's material, Beck made an album called Sea Change, and to me, this album is your sea change.
Oh well, yeah, it definitely is. Thank you. Yeah, I never really thought of it like that, but yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
Soraya, were you gonna say anything before we play this? This is my favorite song on the album, by the way.
All I was gonna say is, Garden. When I listen to it, the lyrics can be, it's definitely this kind of dual message that applies in so many places. But I keep contemplating the title, Paper Boat, and for me, as I'm listening to you talk a little more about it, I go, a paper boat is the boat that people never think. They think it's the most vulnerable and the most fragile one. But in truth, it can be the strongest one given the circumstances. And I think of all these competitions, people make, paper boats and see how much weight they can carry. And it seems beyond logic what a little paper boat can do and how far it can go and how much it can carry and still do its job. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, paper boat. That makes, and all the songs are like fitting into this trajectory. Hadn't dawned on me before, but as I'm listening to it, I go, right, of course, yes, I'm in it.
Perfect title.
Let's listen to Garden, please.
Okay.
Wasn't true love between us. I couldn't fight this. Maybe if there wasn't two worlds between us, I should have stopped it. And I spent all day in my garden, and I can't grow with no water or pruning or any sun at all. I someday a town, and I'll spend all day in my garden, and I can grow with no water or pruning or any sun at all. I can grow. With no water or pruning or any sun at all, I can grow. And I can grow. I can grow. Can grow, and I can grow.
Yay!
Yes, love that.
Yeah, it's got a special place in my heart.
Yeah, so that one, when I listen to the EP, it always takes me back to sitting on your couch in your condo, watching you guys rehearse for your house concert. And
right.
So that's part of the reason why this is my favorite. But I also love your guitar playing. That your little descending arpeggios, so nice. Great song.
Thanks.
And the lyrics are really touching, and it's true. It explains how it is growing through life and growing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could just add really quick, that little keyboard noise that you hear, that was found at the Goodwill too. It's a Magnus. I swear the thing looks like a little toy.
We used to have one of those. A band that I used to play in, we called ourselves TBW, or Tunisian Basket Weavers. I don't know why, but we had a Magnus. And, wow. I would that didn't dawn on me that was that sound, but that's great. But.
And kind of a real quick side story, too. Daniel Johnston just passed away a couple of days ago.
Right.
Big icon, here in Austin, and that was his instrument. He played the Magnus. Like that was all of his recordings, in his little basement were on a Magnus. So
nice. Yeah, I was thinking about you when I heard the news about his passing, because you being an Austin resident. So right,
yeah, I just kind of kept that one. I was gonna post something on Facebook, but I was just like, what, all my friends are already doing it, and I don't want to. I hate jumping on bandwagons. I was just like, well, 2 people already posted. Nah. But, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I like his stuff, and the story and everything's really cool. And out here, it's a lot more prevalent. It's like a mental health day that was kind of like dedicated in his name, and they use the "Hi, how are you" bullfrog thing as their logo and stuff like that. So, awesome. It's really big out here.
Yeah, I remember when we were walking through town seeing that symbol all around in some windows in various places, and a lot of places selling T-shirts, and I thought it was cool because you don't see that around here too much. So, and it is a great story for those who haven't seen it. The Devil and Daniel Johnston is a great story.
Awesome,
great documentary.
Our documentary, right?
So this is about Bridey Murphy, not Daniel Johnston. So talk to us about Feel.
Phil was written when I was still living in California. Not the lyrics, but the melody.
Okay.
And I wasn't gonna bring it to life, really. It was just kind of something that I wrote, and it was very melancholy, and it was just the realization that love was dead. Kind of, not love in the world is dead. The love I had in my relationship had ran its course, I should say. So it was just, but I was still there, and I was in it still. You know what I mean? And you just don't end it, and then you're gone the next day, and you're where you want to be. Like, you gotta live through it a little bit. So that song was just kind of plunking around the guitar, and it was just like for me at the time, like the saddest melody that was just literally how I felt. And it was no lyrics, it was nothing. So when I came out here, I played it for Stephanie and Christina, and I started kind of writing lyrics and experimenting with it a little bit. And I told them it was just too much for me to play, and I didn't want to do it. And they were just like, wait, what? Why? It's a pretty song. And I'm like, no, I don't want to play it. And then they convinced me to do it pretty much. And I developed the lyrics a little bit more, and they added what they do to it. You know, I think Christina's playing ukulele on it, and Stephanie's playing the shakers and adding, you know, they're both adding really pretty harmonies, and it really came together with everybody. So I said, all right, you guys win. And it is a very special place, a very special song to me. So
I describe it as beautifully sad.
There you go.
Well, let's give it a listen. This is Phil.
Okay, cool.
Something worth dying for. When I am yours, when I am yours, yeah. And you make me feel like I've lost something brand new. When I am yours, when I am yours, help me pretend there's something worth living for. When I am yours, when I am yours, and I'll take my chances and throw them away. Chances and throw them away. You make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel, and you make me feel, you make me feel. You make me feel, and you make me.
I'm glad they won that argument. And
thanks. That one still gets me sometimes.
Yeah.
It's really a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Yeah, and their harmonies on it, wow. Yeah.
I know. That's what gets me.
It just paints a beautiful picture. It really does.
Oh, thank you.
Whew. Okay. Where are we trying?
I'm sorry, all my songs are sad.
No, but you know what? They're heartfelt, and they tell us a story. This EP tells us a story.
Yes.
You know, and it is about, you know, just like in a garden. It's, you know, things need nurturing, and sometimes you even have to transplant them.
Right.
So that they continue to thrive.
Yep.
I you know, there's a great story that your band has given us as a listener, and you know, so please, nothing to apologize for at all.
There's always hope in the background, though. You know, I always kind of, the music has a sense to me of like, oh, there's still hope, though. Yes. It's not just dark and dismal.
I'm with you. Yeah. All right, let's talk about track 5. Where did the melody come from for Stay?
Oh, God. The couple of times that we played it live, it's funny. I always have to crack some joke that we wrote that while we were in Transylvania, or we were vampires or waltzing or some sort of like silly story about it. Yes. Oh man, you know what? That was just an early morning cup of coffee kind of thing, and it first started off with that opening guitar riff, and it was just so far out there for me and anything I've ever tried to write, and I just stuck with it. I'm like, you know what? This is so weird and dark sounding and vampire-ish. I'm like, what can I do to develop this and just keep that whole energy with it? And Stay is probably one of my darkest songs, really. It's probably one of my favorites, but I don't know. It's just, when I started writing the lyrics, it was like, you know, I went really dark. Like, it's about betrayal, but then again, this is just like a sense of hopelessness. Like, just stay with me. Like, I'm sick of going through so many freaking emotions here. It's kind of like frustration and everything, just, you know, that angst and you know, and I don't really like to borrow from other artists, but I swear I had Elliott Smith in my head when I first started writing that first part of the opening, at least, not the whole song, but just like that kind of riff and that kind of like, you know, kind of sound. And so I was trying really, really hard to not continue down that road of making an Elliott Smith song, but it did have that vibe in the first couple of bars for me.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah.
But
let's just play it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just play it. This melody is great.
Look back at something that didn't exist. You had me so intimately. Tear of my heart was still beating. It's beating for you and me. But just stay with me, so I can finally rest my head. Stay here with me. Stay with me, so I can finally rest my head. Stay here with me. Look back at something that didn't exist. You had me so intimately. Tear out my eyes, I don't need them to see what you're doing to me. But just stay with me, so I can finally rest my head. Stay here with me. And just stay with me, so I can finally rest my head. Stay here with me.
That melody is just, I just love it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The end of it really gets me. Almost every single time I hear it or sing it, I'm like, I know exactly how I felt when I wrote that line.
Wow. The power of music, right?
it was good therapy for me.
So when I hear the song, I actually picture myself on a carousel in a decrepit old carnival.
Yes.
It's like dark, like with vines growing over it, and I'm riding some horse that's only got like 2 legs and like the ears missing and the tail's missing. Like,
oh yeah, no, and
but
that's why I'm trying the challenge of trying to write songs or lyrics around that, because it was just creepy.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful song, and you're an amazing songwriter. That's one thing. The first time I heard your songs, which I think was probably in your car when we were going to grab something to eat in Orange County, I was like, this guy can write some songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. We were actually on the way to go see the Bengals play.
Oh, yes. At the Whiskey, right?
At the Whiskey, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. Yeah, that
and I yelled out to Susanna, "I love you," and she said back, "I love you." That was too fun.
Rekindling that childhood romance.
Awesome. All right, so this takes us to the last track that you were mentioning earlier. So this was something that you just snuck in at the last minute, right? And it ends up being like one of the 2 most popular songs from the album, according to repeat plays.
Yeah, so this was just a melody that came to me about a week before we went into the studio, and I played it for the girls, and they both like really, fell in love with it. And I'm like, can we do this? Can we practice this a couple of times? So we did. Everybody got their parts, and another Goodwill find was the clarinet that I got, and Stephanie plays clarinet on that, and I'm playing the bells, and Christina, she's playing what's called a concertina, which I found at Goodwill also. So
nice.
Instruments are Goodwill. We're going to have to rename our band to the Goodwill or something. I don't know. So, we got together, and it just had this whole little lullaby kind of vibe. And we all put the parts together, and we went into the studio, and I just kind of threw it on the recording engineer last minute. Like, hey, by the way, we're going to do this. And so, they were super cool about it. And we just kind of looked at each other, and it was at the end of our album too. So it was very fitting. Like, we had a moment in the studio where we all stared at each other, and we're just like, we did it. Yay. Okay. Let's play this song. And it's like, it felt like closure for all of us, really, to kind of just like, we're just do or die. Let's just record this. And it was a lot of fun. So,
well, since it's the last song, I'm going to have you intro it.
Okay. This is Finn by Bridey Murphy.
Great way to end it.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks. I forgot to mention the little radio bit that's playing in the background.
Right.
It's, of course, you know where I found it. It was at Goodwill. It was a radio like transmitter that just does the Weather Channel. And so it's cycling through all the cities of Austin of like the weather. So if you listen close, so they're talking about like Georgetown and Austin, and it's bright and sunny and stuff like that. So as soon as I bought that little noisy white noise kind of machine, I was like, I have to use this in something. And it was so fitting to put it in this because the lullaby is so sweet, and then you just got this weird ruckus happening. But it's talking. It had a nice vibe, because it was talking about the weather's sunny now. And so for me, it was almost an ending of like, oh, everything's better now. Like the sun is out. So.
I love it. So by any chance, are you familiar with the band The Low Anthem?
What are they called?
The Low Anthem is the name of the band. This song, it reminds me of my favorite album from 2008 was an album that they did called Oh My God, Charles Darwin. Uh-huh. And the band's called The Low Anthem, and this kind of has a feel from some of their stuff. And I saw one of their shows at the Troubadour, and
cool.
It was one of their last shows, and they had a pump organ on there. And is this the Magnum again?
That was the concertina.
Oh, the concertina. Okay, so
and the clarinet and the bells.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to end the album.
Okay.
So obviously, our question to you is, where can our listeners buy this amazing album?
Yes. Well, we are streaming right now, and I do have a physical CD. So I guess I could send one for the people that like to hold a CD in their hand and have players in their cars. But if you go on to Spotify, we're on YouTube Music, we're on Apple Music, and Amazon's. Any way you like to stream your music, you can find us at Bridey Murphy. We're on Instagram at Bridey Murphy Music. We have a Facebook page, just Bridey Murphy. So we can be found. And then I really don't have anything set up for the CDs. I have them. So if you just message me on any of those sites, either Insta or Facebook, I can send one out.
Okay, and one last thing I wanted to ask before we let you go. I know Soraya has a hard stop at 10:30 here, so she needs to get going. But the artwork, please tell us about the artwork. It's very simple and beautiful, and it totally fits the feel of the album.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yes. And you're wearing the T-shirt, too.
We are wearing the T-shirt with the design, yes.
I love it. Okay, so the artist, her name is Rachel Freeman. She's amazing. So another customer of mine. So all these musical things have come from customers that I've had. And I don't even remember what she bought from me. But she came to my house, and I started following her on Instagram. And just fell in love with all of her stuff. It's so simple, and it's just very... she uses a lot of botanical and geometry at the same time, and I just fell in love with it right away. And she had something very similar that she did at an art show, like the logo that we have for the artwork that we have for this album. And I asked her if she could do another one for me with 3, since we're a trio. So it has 3 botanicals, to represent the 3. And she was like, yeah, sure. So I'm like, okay, great. Just let me know, what you need and how much you charge. And she's like, oh, no, I just want to do it for you because I like helping out other artists and musicians. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. No. She was like insistent, like, no. She didn't even want credit. I put her name on everything I could think of, just because she's amazing. But she didn't want credit. She was totally cool about, like, no, don't, if I see some furniture or something that you post and I like it, I told her, yeah, feel free, hit me up. I'll give you whatever you want. But, like, that kind of is the vibe in Austin, though. People help each other out here.
Wow.
There's no, like, real... I mean, bands are always going to be competitive, and musicians and artists will always be somewhat competitive. I think that's good, like, in a healthy way. But out here, like, people actually want to help you. Like, they'll invite you to their house show, or they'll do things like this, like, just give you free art for, like, your album because they believe in your project or whatever. So that was kind of, like, I knew I made the right choice to come to Austin. Not only with that, but just so many other things that are like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, California's loss is Texas's gain.
Yeah.
And, it just sounds and feels like you've found a creative and emotional home in Austin.
I have.
So, we're looking forward to more from Bridey Murphy. And again, for our listeners, you can, across many, many streaming platforms, you can find Bridey Murphy's music. And Jeff and I will post some links, but you can find Bridey Murphy on Facebook, Bridey Murphy Music on Instagram. Please go find it. You've heard them today here, but great music. And any upcoming gigs you want to promote?
We don't have any upcoming gigs yet, in the works.
Okay.
I am planning a Halloween house party here at my house, and I'll probably have 2 other bands playing as well as us. And the rule is you're going to have to be in costume. So I don't know what we're going to dress up as. It's probably going to look really ridiculous performing in costume, but that's going to be fun.
Make it work. I love it.
Yeah, I was in Dexy's Midnight Runners. We could all get overalls.
Overalls, yes.
Right?
Soraya, road trip?
Hey, man, I'm always up.
I'm
always up for that.
You guys
never been to Austin. Why not now?
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
So, Jeff, what would we go as?
I don't know. What we could go.
Tweedledum.
Yeah. I think we should go as Goodwill employee workers.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's perfect.
And bring a couple new instruments. Yeah.
That'd be good. Well, come out anytime. Doesn't have to be for that. Just come visit me.
Yes.
And promise us when you guys have more music that you'll let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
And talk to you about it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh! But congratulations on the band. Congratulations on CP. And
thank you.
Here's to many more good things.
Yes.
Bridey Murphy.
Yes. All right, Greg. Thanks so much for coming on the show and talking about this album that I've been listening to for the last 6 weeks. It's amazing release. I definitely recommend this to all of our listeners, and I really appreciate you giving us the background for these songs. It's even more important to me now, knowing a little bit more about it. So I appreciate your time.
Oh, no, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Totally. Gente, a groovear.
Groove on, Paisley people.
Later.
We'll see you guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye. Am I really hanging up on you?
Not yet.
No.
Okay. The
outro. Yeah.
Are you going to play the outro or are you going to edit it in?
I'll edit it in.
Okay, so do me a favor and stop recording.
Okay, 1 second. Hold on.
Like I've lost something rich. I'm yours. Help me pretend there's something worth living for.